Okay, so let's take a look at how you can create sample data with RavenDB. Okay, so what we're going to do is, first thing, I have installed the RavenDB and I have it on one of my drives. So here you can see the RavenDB installed here. Now to run this, what I can do is I will just copy this path to particular directory, right? Make sure you have run.ps1 here. Right now I will have to open terminal in administrator mode, right? And then here I will have to point to that directory, right? So I will just move to this particular directory. I will use cd and then this path, right? So now that I am here, I will use ./run.ps1. As you can see, if you use the tab, it will autocomplete. So hit enter. Okay, this should start the instance of RavenDB and it will open it in one of your default browser. As you can see, your terminal will show something like this, right? So let's wait for it to open our browser, where we also have to point to the certificate, right? So here you see, select certificate for authentication, click OK. Now it will let us in, and here as you can see, currently I have no database, right? So first thing, we will have to create a database, right? So choose create a database from here within dashboard or go to databases. Now here again you will see option to create a new database, or you can take one from backup. Okay, there is also new database button here, and it has two options: one to restore new database from backup restore, and new database from legacy data file. So these two options we can't use as we don't have those files, right? So I will click on new database, right? I can't use encryption with community server, right? Because if you choose it, it will ask you to download the keys and all, but this option is not available for community. Then replication default won't let you switch. Then there is also path, so you can manually point, but the thing is we already have one path in this particular location, right? Now all I have to do is I will have to enter the name. So let's see, if I use Northwind as name of the database, and if I say create, it will create the database, right? But it won't have any form of document and collections, right? So to do that, what we will have to do is we will have to click on the database, right? Then we will have to check whether we have anything. So considering nothing is here, we'll go to tasks, right? Then can see backups, ongoing tasks, import data, export database, and create sample data. So click on that, and here you see sample data option. Click on create. Okay, considering there are no other or data related to what type of sample data it will have, etc. So we will just have only one option to create. So it will load up and then add the sample data in your existing database. So I created Northwind name because it will take that particular data and populate your database. Okay, depending on your internet connection, it may take a bit of time for it to download few files and populate. Okay, now at the end it will also show you the type of documents that it has downloaded. So we'll go through those documents, and we will also take a look at how you can edit them you can delete them, and you can also explore them. Right now, once completed, it will show you the pop-up like the one you see at the bottom right now, and here it says created, and also it shows you a link to go to documents. Click on that, and you are now seeing all these entries. As you can see, all of these are your documents. Okay, here you can see they are basically set of collections, categories, companies, employees, orders, products, regions, etc. Right, then you can go through each of them simply by clicking on collection, and they will be sorted. So here you have these employees, right, and then you have the product catalog, right, then you have shippers, right, and then you have suppliers. Okay, now I can also take a look at the other data at the top, like companies, categories, right, then all of these within singular index, right. So these are some of the things that you get from your sample data within the RavenDB. So now what we will do is we will go to one of these collections and open few documents, and we will also edit them. We can also delete them just to show you how CRUD operation works with sample data. Okay, now here you see some of the collections that we have. Now what I'm going to do is pick one of the smaller collection. Right now here I have few documents. Okay, so these documents are basically showing you the shipping company's data. So I'm going to copy this just to show you how I can create a new document there. So we will go to shippers, then click on new document. Right now I'm going to here just paste this and type in something like DHL shipping. Phone number I will change to, let's see, 44495 something, right, give it anything random. Okay, then 502, right, collection shippers, we already have it. Now I will let the ID auto generated, click on save. Right now our collection has one more document within this shippers collection. Here you can see ID is auto generated. If you want, you can edit it, right. So we will try and see if we can do so, right. So we simply copy this, go back to shippers. Here I'm going to modify this, right. So if I choose to do the modification, it seems like it will go with auto generated. So what we can do even in this context, simply copy this, delete it, right. Okay, now what we can do, go back to shippers, and here we will simply create new document. Right here we have our data to be added, and in new tab I will just open the collection, right. So I can copy this particular ID and make it 4A, right. If I can use double quotes or not, I will find out, right. So this is my ID, this is my entry, so I will just save this. Now it fits my collection. Here you can see 1 2 3 and 4, these are my IDs. So you can also edit the ID and don't have to rely on auto-generated IDs within NoSQL, right. So RavenDB, considering is a NoSQL, you can edit all of its properties. We also showed you how to particularly delete the document as well, right. And here we can also explore few more options, right. Like let's say if I want to see the attachments here, I can also add attachment. Say if it has any logo also, I can use that. I can take the logo, attach it, and it will be saved as one of the attachment to this particular document, right? There are also counters here, so you can add the counters. Then if you are making use of time series, you can do so. So let's try to find out how counter works. So we have to name the counter. We have to also give the counter some name, right? And then we have to say create, right? So let's see. We give it a name, ship counter, right? So let's go with that. Ship count, counter value, enter counter value 1 at this time, right? Hit create. So we have like one more entry which is has counters, right? Which is at the red flag, has counters. Then there is time series. So let's try to find out what it is, right? Add time series. So document ID it requires, then series name. So this is required considering we are trying to create time series entry. So I think this will require a discussion of its own, so we'll leave it for now. So there is also timestamp. So we find out when this time series entry was made. So timestamp is very much important, right? Then there is tag there. So each time series entry would have that, right? Then you can add the values as required. So key value pair you can add here as well. Then finally you will have to save this. So this will also add one more entry to your existing document. Now I have made few changes to this document, right? So if I go to revision tab and if I choose to create a revision, right, so it will be added to this documents entry as well that it has a revision, right? So if you are having multiple user working on a document, then it will be available there, right, to check what changed. And there is also related option and recent. So here you see the recent entry was shifted from 3A to 4A. As you can see, I just copied the 3A and changed that to 4A, and its entry and data all changed. So recent should have that data there as well, right? So what we have done so far is we managed to create a sample data, then we manipulated document, right, and we also manipulated one of the collection, right? So create, read, update, delete, we have tried those options within this sample data.